is more than 31 billion views just of witch-tok. What could this mean for spirituality? Is it maybe getting diluted? Is it the practice losing its essence or its strength? Or is it just becoming stronger? Why is there such a big desire to step into the witchy community? Or why has the witchy community gained this power in these modern times? I think the topic of witchcraft and magic has always been relevant. It's always been a hot topic, but I do feel that it has definitely become more popular and more normalized. I feel that this has become a double-edged sword. The spaces of witchcraft have really spoken to a new generation in the search for meaning and to break old structures. I think if you have been in the spiritual community, whether it be on YouTube, on witch-tok, on many of the other platforms, you realize that people are always talking about breaking the pattern of our family, of breaking these structures and these cycles, ancestral cycles, to come into the sense of healing. There is like this collective idea or movement that we want to break these old structures. We want to step into an energy of peace and reconnection. We are even seeing this in other mediums as people returning to old technologies of using iPods or a bit of just like older technology, trying to both disconnect a bit from the internet and create and reimagine old ways. Depending on the spiritual practice that you're walking on witchcraft, it could be a bit more ancient or a bit more modern or a mix of both, because I think the deeper calling is to reconnect with the land, to reconnect with a sense of spirituality and faith that has been lost since the Industrial Revolution. I think we have changed our mind and our perspective into what is tangible, into capitalism and into just trying to focus on the material and forget about the untangible, the ineffable, those things that we cannot explain with words, which are the mysteries and the power that is found in witchcraft. I do believe that there's this natural calling towards belief, towards magic, towards the myth, and living the myths and the magic, having the experience that is the mystery of witchcraft. By mystery, I talk about these spiritual experiences that cannot be explained through words, but that you just have to live them to really appreciate the meaningfulness behind them. So I would have to say that witch-tok, more than just a trend, I think it is a collective longing to go back to ancestral ways, because witchcraft, or what people have titled as witchcraft, because there is witchcraft as a practice, as a craft, as an art form, and as a spiritual practice, and even witchcraft as a religion. And then there is also witchcraft as in other spiritual practices that have been denominated witchcraft, but then there's just other religious practice that Christianity has called them as witchcraft, but they're not really, or they don't really consider themselves witchcraft. We have to be really careful how we use the word. I mean, you could say that you practice witchcraft if you're just a tarot reader, if you feel comfortable with that. I myself try to use titles less and less. And for example, more than calling myself a witch, I say I'm pretty witchy, because I do tarot readings for a living. I create content normally around this topic of witchcraft, but not only witchcraft. And I've been practicing witchcraft since I'm 13, witchcraft, magic, ceremonial magic, all of these very esoteric practices since already over 16 years ago. But even with time, I just keep identifying less with titles, and I just consider myself a spiritual person that is very interested into witchcraft. And because of all these years of knowledge that I have, I think I'll talk about this topic for today. Hi, this is David, the editor. And this part came off as if I knew a lot, like all of this knowledge. I don't have that much knowledge, to be honest. I just have had it's been a lot of years. So if you've been doing something for a lot of years, like, if you have been cooking for a lot of years, even if you don't consider yourself a chef or someone specialized in this, you just have, it just becomes easier. But I don't think myself to be not even close. Like, there's people that have been in this practice less and are way more knowledgeable than I am. But yeah, just wanted to make that clarification that I speak from a humble place and just from my experiences and the little knowledge I've acquired over these years. Okay, let's continue with the video. So I think that this can be very appealing to younger audiences because it is a spiritual practice that invites us to empower ourselves, that invites us to take charge of our lives, because magic or witchcraft is all about creating change in our reality, conforming to our will, conforming to that which we desire and that which is aligned with us. It is about finding also that will, finding that meaning behind our lives and shifting and creating rituals so that we can align ourselves with the kind of life, with the kind of morality, with the kind of existence that we want to bring into this material form. So these practices really call us to call back our power and to step in this sense of our own power and just shift and change and transform. And I feel witchcraft, at least as modern witchcraft practices, it really creates space for liberty and also acceptance. Though I would like to make clear that there are some witchcraft circles that are not so accepting, that are not so open, that might not be queer friendly, even though I do feel most witchy spaces or esoteric spaces tend to be very open to queer people and just to non-conforming people all around. And that for me is the true nature of witchcraft, because if you are to consider yourself a witch, then you are definitely an outcast, or you are definitely someone different. You are not part of the crowd, because it is not a title to take lightly. It is a title, a very dangerous title, that has gotten many people killed in the past, even if they didn't even consider themselves as witches. But if other people consider them witches, then they can be pointed at and destroyed completely. So now it's changing that title and being, yes, I'm a witch. It's empowering us. It's giving us a sense of personal power, because it is through finding ritual, devotion to life, to sometimes spirits, or maybe to our own selves, that we find mechanisms and ways to shift our perspective, to shift our reality, and to bring forth that which we desire. I do believe that witchcraft has become kind of like two ways. I think people are finding a lot of meaning, and it's thanks to witch-tok that a lot of people have gotten into alternative spiritual practices, which are giving them meaning, which is really helping them out. But it's also a way of rebellion against the patriarchy, against these phallic male structures of life that just want us to be like them, or to be conforming, or to just accept things as they are. Which this also will be another tangent, which I kind of want to go off new age spirituality, or like the spirituality of like just love and light, which I find that is not okay. Witchcraft is also about anger. It's also dark and strong, and it's about standing for what you believe in and going against the patriarchy and going against what doesn't feel right in our body, what doesn't feel right in society. It's also a rebellion towards capitalism and these structures that try to confine us, that try to make us be slaves. I think the witch's way is to break from structures, to find your own path, and to actually trace that new path. the crooked path, which is another name for traditional witchcraft. And you know, there are people who do it for the aesthetics, and that's completely fine as well. If you love the witchy aesthetic, go for it. I am one that adores the witchy aesthetic, though I don't feel that I embody it that much. I mean, I do like wearing black. I mean, I have a little moon pendant, and like I wear my pentacle and whatnot, and but I'm not really as witchy or gothic. I mean, like I'm wearing like this light blue sweater, and I love like these very like pastel colors. But if you like the witchy aesthetic, which I actually do quite a lot, that's completely fine. If you're just doing it for the aesthetic, it's completely fine. But I do feel that tarot and candles slightly lead us to viewing the way differently, as not seeing life as so binary, and also trying to see the magic in small little details in our life, and trying to make our days more magical. And if that fills us with purpose and joy, why won't we continue doing it? This is a very personal thing of like sharing. If you're sharing your practice, takes that sacredness away from it, because I do feel that some part of it should always stay quiet. And for example, I haven't shown any of my practice online lately, and I think most of my spiritual practice is very subtle now. It's about, you know, talking to the land, meditating, and just being present in nature. I haven't been doing rituals much lately, but I do feel that we overshare a lot, and I am one who overshares a lot. I mean, I do videos and vlogs, but I think I'm slowly sharing less, though I would like to share more. I will find a balance between that, but I also do find that it's important to sometimes keep a few things secret, to keep things sacred just between us and our spirits, us and our spirit guides, and decide what parts are shared. I think like one of the hardest parts, or like one of the parts that we're losing, is kind of knowing that witchcraft is not easy, that witchcraft will lead us to look deep within ourselves and look at our shadow and just look at the dark aspects of life that may be painful. That is also part of the witch path. And I feel that sometimes TikTok is just superficial, and I say as one that works as a TikTok live and content creator, don't base your practice just on what you see online. Read some books, watch YouTube creators, watch longer form content, and also trust your gut, because it is about intuitively feeling what nature and what our spirit is asking for, but also getting their grasp on basic things. I always recommend getting a book on protection magic. The one I always recommend is, I'm going to put the name here, or the book here, because right now I'm forgetting the title. I think always get into protection magic before anything else, mostly because it at least makes us feel safe, and I feel like that energy is very important when we're stepping into the unknown or stepping into practices that might change our perspective. That little taste of danger, or like those spells or those rituals that make us walk out into the forest at night, and then there's like a sense of fear. That altered state of consciousness is also very important, and to push us outside of our comfort zone. I think that's also essential in witchcraft. It's not easy. It's not about lighting a tea light and blowing it out and that's it. I think the practice of witchcraft is more complicated and in-depth, but we know if witch-tok was your entry point, that is okay, but let it not be the only information you're getting. Read books, read the history of witchcraft and how witchcraft came to be is also important and healthy. We need to get our hands dirty. We need to explore different traditions and like keep your mind open. Read different things. Read about different religions as well. So I'm just gonna take you along on my kind of night ritual, or my night routine to go to sleep, which is also part of my spiritual practice. It's not gonna be anything crazy. I think I'm just gonna take you along. I'm gonna brush my teeth. I'm just gonna show you what I do at night. But I think that's also something very important, which is finding ritual or making simple things as ritual, because I have found that it is so important to have a night ritual or to have a way to start disconnecting. For example, right now it's 10:30, and so it's getting a bit late now. I'm trying to wake up early the past few days, because I'm definitely more of a morning person, as in I feel better when I just start the day early. So I've just been doing a lot of things to try to cultivate healthy sleep, and one of the most important parts about that is actually disconnecting from your phone. I have not been really checking my phone lately, and there's also an option to put it in black and white, which I do it very often, and I try to keep my phone at black and white so I don't feel so called to use it. So once I disconnect from my TikTok live, which normally happens at 9 p.m. Central Europe time, I then put it in black and white and just try to use it at, as little as possible. I set up my alarm, and yeah, I'm going to take you along now. Another thing I like to do is try to use very dim lights. So now all of the lights are going to be a bit warm, and I just try to use like very indirect light, so I don't feel like I'm getting all this light. And then like my phone and the computer also have this option of like, kind of like warmer light, and I do change it to that. And a very good thing I've been doing lately, and it's giving me a lot of peace, is I've organized my to-do list the night before. I already did mine because I didn't know I was gonna start recording. I'm just gonna start recording tonight. I'm not gonna overthink my content as much. So I just write my to-do list, which I already did that today. And I feel like just having your to-do list ready for tomorrow, it just gives you a sense of peace, and you could just fall asleep without worrying what you're going to do tomorrow, because it's already on your to-do list, so you're going to be able to do it. I'm going to film 2 YouTube videos, and I got a head start with this one, so that's good. When you put things on paper, what you're supposed to do, that just helps you rest better. And one of my final parts before I go to bed is lately I've been journaling both in the morning and at night if I have the time. If I'm busy or if I'm just feeling too tired or overwhelmed, I don't do it. This morning I did journal, and I think you're gonna see that, or you already saw it. And I journaled quite a lot because I've been having very vivid dreams, which I'm really happy to be having, and I think that has happened a lot since I moved into the cave. Just before I go to bed, I just like to read. Currently I'm going to show you what I'm reading. This is the one I'm more actively reading. It's a non-fiction book called El Infinito en un Junco, which is the history of the invention of books in ancient times. So it talks about the papyrus, and it talks about Alexander the Great, and the Library of Alexandria, and all of these mythic and also real accounts of just how books came into being. And it has been so interesting. She is an amazing author. She writes so well. This has been the most interesting nonfiction book, and these are not even all the little things. I've been taking them out when I pass them to my computer, which I need to do that one of these days. I've just been so busy. It's just been such a good read, guys. I can't wait to finish it. It's been my favorite nonfiction book, and it just talks about the beauty and the power of books and of reading, and how reading before it used to be out loud with a certain rhythm, and then how slowly it evolved into something we do silently, and it just becomes one person. Before, it used to be a shared activity, and it becomes a very private activity. But also I think it's beautiful to read out loud to someone, and I think it's something we should be doing more. I know I haven't done it that often. I just haven't found much people who would like to sit down and read a book out loud, and I just find that quite romantic and lovely. I'm reading this book, and so I have I made an autumn TBR. I'm gonna show you guys. The first one that I put on my list, I don't know if I'm gonna read it. I started reading it, but I think the version I got is not the right version. Where is it? Here it is. I don't know if you can see it. Kind of there. Okay, I'll later maybe put a clip. So I was gonna read Dr. Faustus first, but I think I got the wrong version. This is gonna be like from September 15th to December 21st, because in December 21st when winter actually starts. And Rebecca and Crime and Punishment. So I'm gonna actually begin with Rebecca, then I'll probably continue with Crime and Punishment, which is the fiction book Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. It's amazing. It's so gothic. She has such a beautiful way with words. I've actually started reading this at the gym, like in between sets when I'm just in, except of scrolling on my phone, I'm reading. But today I decided I actually don't want to read that in the gym because it's something to be in bed and to be cozy and to just be reading a very gothic love story. I don't know if it's a love story. Rebecca is about this girl that marries a widower. The ghost of his past wife kind of is haunting her, but not really. It's like she's like a haunting memory. I haven't really gotten that far. Maybe I'm like in chapter 4. But the way she writes, I mean, continue watching my videos. Maybe I'll do a review or something. But I just want to like read some phrases. I think I'm gonna read something now. The woods, always a menace, even in the past, had triumphed in the land. They crowded, dark and uncontrolled, to the borders of the drive. The beeches, with white, naked limbs, leant close to one another, their branches intermingled in a strange embrace, making a vault above my head, like the archway of a church. I love the image of like the trees creating an archway of like a church. Like it just makes me think of the sacredness of beauty and how we can find God in nature. I don't know. I just found that part very beautiful. And it's one of my favorites though. He will fall smoking cigarette after cigarette, not bothering to extinguish them, and the glowing stubs will lie around the ground like petals. Such a beautiful image of just like transforming the little stubs into petals, still kind of like with the smoke. Just like a beautiful imagery. I really want to read this book, but I also really want to finish this one. I'm already halfway through it. I'm in page 288, and I kind of want to get to page 300 or over 300 tonight. So let's try to do that before I go to bed. I should be going to bed sooner.